Welcome to episode 2 of The Objective. This is my series where I document every single week the journey of trying to help all my artists and creative friends live out the dreams that they want to have while also trying to build and live that dream myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dark. I am an artist that makes heavy pop music for fans of Sleep Token, The Weeknd, Bad Omens, and Artemis, but I also run a video production company called No Light Productions. Pretty much every week, I am working with creatives on different marketing strategies, content ads, stuff of that nature. And so I'm just talking to people all the fucking time about like how do we do this thing, and I'm learning and growing with them, and just trying to document everything that I find here so that you guys can get some use out of it. So uh, yeah, because like I'm just the reason I'm doing this is just because I'm sick and tired of seeing people feel like they can't like live the life of their dreams. And to me, I think there's a way. I'm just gonna go and fucking lay out that path. So this week was actually my birthday week. On Monday, I turned 29, so happy birthday to me. And I almost had a panic attack on my birthday. Just fucking fantastic. Unexpected, but an interesting little wake up call. I had a great birthday. It was super fun. Like my birthday weekend was fantastic, and I didn't have a panic attack. The keyword almost. I but I don't know. I'm at this I'm at this amusement park with Nova, and I don't know. I was about to get on the roller coaster, and I'm not afraid of roller coasters, by the way. Your boy loves roller coasters, but I feel my heart rate just start going up like crazy, and check my watch, and I'm just like sitting down normally, and like my heart rate is just at 160, and I'm like, I had to ask one of the people, the attendants, to let me off the ride before it took off because I was like, I don't know what's going on, but if I stay on this roller coaster, I think the likelihood that my heart rate goes down from 160 is pretty low. And I'd like to enjoy this ride, so let me step off for a sec. And Nova, of course, was naturally worried, just like, I'll get off with you. I was like, no, 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 I'm good. You go. She goes. And so I'm just sitting there, um, trying to calm down. And I ended up taking a few breaths, and I was like, okay, I'm good. And I realized, like, in that moment, I didn't feel like I deserved to be having fun because, like, I'm taking all of these risks, and I have all these people that believe in me and are actively helping me and putting their time and effort and energy into this thing that I'm trying to build when like none of us are certain that it's going to work at all. And I'm just sitting here like, holy shit, like how did I even get here? And like I should be continuing to work for these people, not taking a day off. um, but I was eventually able to sort of stomach that feeling and process and recognize that it's like, hey, I got to show up as my best self. And like if I can't even enjoy my own birthday, then how am I going to show up and help anybody else and trying to enjoy their lives? And again, like I totally had an amazing day. It was fun. Like I calmed the fuck down, and then like I mean, it took a little while, but like then we enjoyed the rest of the day. We rode a shitload of roller coasters. I love roller coasters. I love big, tall, fucking scary roller coasters, which is why I was like, what is going on? Because like I was like, everyone probably thinks I'm just scared of this fucking wooden coaster, but I'm like, it's like, no, I think I'm having a I'm having a medical issue. But anyway, so that's that. What a fun way to start the week. Um, but I gained some useful insight that I'm grateful for. And the thing that I also realized from that is committing is like the only way through this whole thing. Like you have to there wherever you are now, like if you haven't started yet, or if you haven't actually like taken the jump into being a creative full time and or running a business or whatever it is that you do, like leaving the workforce, or like or even if you are staying in the workforce and just going after it, there's this sense of safety that comes with just thinking about it, right? Just thinking about what you want to do, because like that's the place where you can test all variations of whatever could happen. Um, but you don't have to deal with any of the consequences of those realities that you've hypothesized in your head. The one that you do have to deal with, though, the insidious one, is the fact that you haven't taken any action and you are still living the life that you were unhappy with, which is, I would say, a greater cost than dealing with any of the repercussions of actually taking action. That being said, committing is the only way through, because there's just no way to know exactly the things that you're going to go through, um, or exactly what's going to happen. You just have to develop the skills and the know-how to handle the situations that come, right? And I'm 2 years into like doing this full time and having like not had a job and just like really trying to pursue this thing, and it's been hard, right? Like but that's okay. Like it wasn't supposed to be easy. Um, and the thing that I'm realizing is like the more you do it, the better you get at it, and the less stressful certain situations become. Um, to me, living this life is just like when I was working my sales jobs. You know, my first year, the first year at a sales job is always the hardest. You know the least about the company and the product that you're selling. You have the smallest book of business, and you have the least amount of predictability, and people are hitting you up the least. And the more you go through it, it's still stressful and anxiety inducing, and there's a lot to deal with, but eventually you start to get a sense for the flow and how to handle things, how to handle the ups and downs, knowing your sales cycles, knowing when people come, when people go, knowing how to interact with the people you're involved with in the organization, and where they might need help, where they might have deficits, where they can actually help you, where your deficits are, all those kinds of things. To me, there's nothing really different um, between working a sales gig and running a business and trying to be a creative full time. It's like you still have the same problems. The problems are that people need to know who you are and people don't, and you need to get them to give you cash for something that you provide for them. And the basis of that is value, right? Even if you are a musician, right? The value that you provide people is an experience. And that experience can be catered to any emotion or thing, whether it's you provide the experience of catharsis, whether it's you provide the experience of like having a good time at the party, whether you provide a level of calm or introspection or whatever kind of music that you make. People are going to find different use cases for like what you make. And ultimately, like the exchange that happens at the end of it is a financial one, even if that person isn't giving you cash directly. Because if they stream your song, you get paid on Spotify. And yes, I know Spotify doesn't pay a lot, yet blah blah blah. Don't worry about it. The fact is like there is still a transaction that happens there. And that attention can later convert into other things if you can manage to monetize it, which is hard, right? Even where I'm at right now for like my current project is like I've sold merch in the past for other bands I was in. Like I've played shows, like I've done a lot of different things, but for this project right now, I'm just solely focused on mastering Traffic. And with the business and like some of my clients that I'm involved with, like I'm assisting them in getting some monetization vehicles going, so I know what to do when it is time to monetize on my end. But back to the original point, like of committing, and is there is no way to there is no way to know what is going to happen until you just go through the process. Like it is one thing to hear somebody talk about what the process is like, and it is very valuable information. It is one thing to think about what the process is going to be like, which can be useful to a certain degree if you just understand, like if you're creating a plan, right? If you're like, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and if something goes wrong, I'll do this, right? You should have that in your head. Um, like for me, it was like I'm gonna start this video business. While I'm doing this, I'm gonna still keep applying for jobs just in case. And then if shit really, really goes wrong, I'm just gonna drive Uber, right? And like when I hit this certain number in my bank account, I'm driving Uber, which I did end up having to drive Uber. And then right after that, I landed my first major client, which would be Fear Marketing, which I'm very, very involved with on their day to day. So it's like I feel like I'm functioning more like a business partner than like a client relationship kind of a thing. But in any case, um, I had no idea like when that was going to happen, right? Like when I started the business, like I had no idea that that's how long it was going to take, or that I was going to land a client, or that the relationship would turn into what it is now, which is like me and the president working very closely on the day to day, on like the higher level stuff of the business, like me sort of functioning almost in this like leadership position with that team. And I couldn't have imagined that like any of the things that have happened this year would have happened either. But I had to go through the process to get to know what it was actually going to feel and look like, and the decisions that I was going to have to make. Um, so the whole thing about like burning the boats, I'm sure you've heard like I think it's a David Goggins quote, or I don't know who said burn the boats. I know David Goggins says, who's gonna carry the boats or whatever. But if you don't know what that is at all, so the burning the boats thing is like sail like if you burn the boats, you have no way home, right? Like the metaphorical boats of like returning back to your safe place. And if you burn the boats, you have no other choice but to make where you are at right now work for you. And I think that's super fucking valuable because, I mean, it doesn't necessarily work well for everybody. And I'm not suggesting making really, really dumb decisions with like your finances or stuff like that, like stuff that would be irresponsible. And I definitely wouldn't recommend people do what I did. There was, uh, reaction to a very challenging circumstance, which the short version of this is, and do not do this. This is not financial advice. This is not entrepreneurial advice. This is not business advice. This is not sales advice. Do not do what I did. I don't recommend it. I think most people should probably not do this. But after I got laid off from my sales job, is why I started this business. And I started this business on credit cards. Like I had to fund my life on credit cards. That was it. While I was figuring out how to make money. So like, I didn't have that much savings in the bank. Like, dude, I had like 10K savings in the bank, like max, which got burned through pretty quick for living in LA, right? So, um, and that was some years ago now, but like the point is, um, I had to take on a lot of risk, and that was a personal decision. And I was willing to take on that risk because I knew I had an exit plan. I had done sort of the math of what I needed to do, and like if I hit a certain number and all that kind of stuff. But the only reason I figured it out is because I didn't have another choice. Because my other option is moving home, and if I moved home, then like to me that was failure. I didn't want to give up on my dream, so I said I had to figure this out. And by the way, like I know my parents would have welcomed me with open arms had I decided to move home. They would have been like, "Of course you can, like, of course we got you." Like they wouldn't have had a bad thing to say about it. Um, but to me, I was like, I have not come this far to just give up here. So yeah, and shit's gonna happen, by the way, like constantly. Like that's what this life looks like, the life of entrepreneurship, which I do believe artistry and entrepreneurship are the same life. I don't think there's anything different about it. At least I have not known it to be. Um, and so, like for example, like uh, here's actually a funny pattern. So um, I invested in this coaching program that I'm confident is going to get me results because I've done pretty well with the coaching in the past and it has gotten me results. Um, and right after I did that, uh, my birthday happens, and I was like, yeah, cool. I'm gonna think of this as like my birthday gift to myself, and I'm gonna make everybody more money, and like everyone's on board, and like the team's on board. And then right after that, my car needs repairs, and I was like, shit. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, so now I got to deal with that right after spending the money that could have been used for that. And the lesson that I learned there is like life does not give a fuck about how you feel at all. Um, it's going to like whenever you think you've been tested enough is when it's going to test you again, and that's like part of the process. I would say that that's um, like that's how you grow. And immediately, like, by the way, this exact pattern happened in January. I invested in a different coaching program. Then my car got busted, and I was like, cool. And so like stuff just happens and you have to learn how to work around it. You have to ask for help when you need it. Um, that's just how shit works. And you have to just get creative and you have to commit. And the thing is like I did commit to that coaching program and then it worked. Like I was able to pay off the program and it was fine. Like the program had a positive ROI. And so I feel the same way about what's about to happen next. I mean, I obviously don't know, but I know that I'm going to be the guarantee. Like I'm going to make my own guarantee. So life doesn't give a fuck about how you feel. It is just going to keep testing you and testing you and testing you and your skills. So being able to continue on under stress, like, is the entire fucking game. Like, that is what we're doing here. Is like every day something is going to fucking happen. And it's going to test your patience. It's going to test your fortitude. It's going to test your resilience. It's going to test everything, your decision making. And it's like it's actually one of the most fucked up things about like entrepreneurship and artistry that like I think is less talked about because a lot of people are looking for like hacks and shit. The real fucking hack is like, can you handle the constant stress? Like, can you handle the anxiety that like you have to sit with for days, weeks, or months on end for problems that you don't yet know how to solve that are going to take all of your resources to solve and then an extended amount of time to implement the solution and possibly even more capital, or you have to get more skills that you don't currently have because you have knowledge gaps. I mean, fuck, like I literally take like fucking stress drops sometimes just to like manage this shit, to manage the panic attacks, because it's like it's just where I'm at right now. Like I'm still early, so it's still more volatile. Later down the line, I'm sure like certain things get easier. right? I mean, not to suggest that it's easier at the top. I wouldn't know, but um, like there would just be different stressors that I might have more resources to deal with and feel a little bit more comfortable in my own skills. So, um, yeah, if you can deal with that, then I would say this life is for you. If you're willing to take that on, because what happens is like in the beginning, like I remember the first year, I was just freaking out all of the fucking like genuinely freaking out. Like I would come home and I would cry, and I would cry, and I'd go back to work, and I'd sleep, and I'd cry, and then I'd wake up and do it again, and it was just like that's it. Like, and eventually it was like, oh well, I learned how to solve this problem that I was really scared of. Okay, cool, I'm not going to freak out about it anymore. And then slowly you start to build up enough skills, you become battle hardened in some ways, and you just get better at tackling the problem. And you'll so like the same problems will just feel less stressful to you, even though they'll be a little bit stressful. And if you're comfortable with going through that process constantly, like like you'll be able to do this. Um, but I think where a lot of people get stuck is they think they shouldn't be feeling the way that they're feeling. And my response to that is like, did you think this was going to be easy? Because it's not. There's no version of this that's easy. Um, Everybody has a different version of this being hard for different ways, no matter where they are at like in the relative scale of things. Like I'm sure the people at the top have like crazy problems that I couldn't even fathom. Like I watch CEO interviews where they're like, oh, I lost like $100,000, $500,000 on this thing. Like that fucking sucked. And I was like, however much in savings or whatever. And I'm like, damn, like that fuck. Or like I heard I watched a video of Sharon, the president or the CEO of acquisition.com. He was like, yeah, one time I lost $1 million on an investment that I, spent like, however many months of time on and due diligence and all this stuff. And it was just like, ouch. I don't know what it's like to lose $1 million on making a judgment call that like I thought was solid but turned out not to be. Um, and like I don't know what that pain feels like. I also don't know what was in his bank account at the time, so I don't know how much of his like revenue that how much of a hit to his revenue that was. I mean, obviously he's doing fine, it seems like. But all that being said is like my when you start to think at like the bigger scale of like the problems that could occur, you start to realize that there are like reasonable and logical solutions to the smaller problems that you have, and it helps you kind of like mentally sort of reframe. Which is why when you hear a lot of entrepreneurs talk, they sort of talk in this almost like flat, sort of like really direct way because it's like the way that we have to think to get through the day. um, but I'm just checking my notes here now from some other things that I wanted to talk about. Um, oh yeah, so it looks like I might actually need to start getting up earlier than I am getting up now. I was getting up at like, or right now I'm currently getting up anywhere between like 5:30 and 6:30, but it's looking like I might need to get up at like 4, to be honest. Because my phone just starts blowing up at like 9 a.m. and I'm like, no more. Like having that time in the morning is nice to just like do what I need to do. It's like wake up, go to the gym. I'll usually read. I'm reading. Let me pull this book out. So I just finished. David the Bus, making great YouTube content. Jesus Christ! So just finished this book. This was fantastic. Because I realized a lot of the problems that I've run into this year were my failure to like be a good leader, and so I needed to get some skills. And I really recommend this if this is like something you're interested in. Um, these guys were like this is a book written by like former Navy SEALs that were like high up in like field combat leadership stuff, and really cool stories and just like principles for thinking about how to navigate teamwork. Especially like coming from people who like because mistakes for us it's like okay you lose some money, that's how business works. It's like you make the right decision and you make money, or you make the wrong decision and you lose money. That's kind of it. Like that's the dichotomy. But for these guys, it's like you make the right decision and people don't die, or you make the wrong decision and people do die. And that that is way higher stakes, I would say. So principles of combat apply to business. And then I started reading this today actually. This one's really interesting. It's just about like process and operations and how to speed up processes to like make a business better. Um, but yeah, so I try to start my day just like getting information to make myself better because at the end of the day, like everything that I do comes down to like the skills that I have. And I try to take extreme ownership and realize like if things aren't getting done right in my life, then it's my fault, and that's it. Like I've never had success really by blaming others. I don't think I've ever blamed somebody else and then my life got better. I think my life has only ever gotten better when I blame myself. So or did I say that right? I don't know. I'm fucking tired. Anyway, um, but most creatives, even me, right, struggle to sit with this uncertainty that we're dealing with. And that alone is the hardest part. It's to stay relentless when you have no fucking idea what's going to happen. And you might be watching this video and thinking, well, shit, like you're telling, like, isn't this supposed to be able to like help me like become an artist and a creative entrepreneur or whatever it is? And it's like, yes, it is. Like, I know you might be looking for some like really crazy tactic or whatever that's like dialed, but um, so much of what I see and even what I deal with on the day to day right now kind of comes down to like the emotional mindset stuff. Um, I have seen so many people just nuke themselves because they just cannot handle the stress. Like for example, in ad campaigns, one of the biggest things that I see when musicians are running ads for their stuff is they will fuck up their own campaigns because they're not willing to be patient because that like it makes sense that you would want every dollar to be get you a result like but part of advertising is you have to spend money to like learn. um do I have a meeting? No, I don't have a meeting yet. um yeah, it's not for a little bit. Okay. um but like part of advertising is like you have to pay for uh to learn things. That's the whole point. Is like you pay to learn something. You pay to get your video shown or your piece of content shown, and then you learn from the data that you get back from that. That's the entire point. Um, because with the learnings, you can turn that into a result. But a lot of people they panic when they've been spending, and it's been a lot of learning and not a lot of result. But the learning is the point. The result happens as a result of the learning. And so I've seen people like freak out, try to change things, like try to push other people, to blame other people, to do all this stuff, and it's like it it doesn't ever help them. And so you have to be comfortable making investments for like not a whole lot of return necessarily up front, for not a whole lot of like stuff in the beginning because you know you can figure this out. So yeah. Uh, Sorry, sound distracts me. I should turn off my notifications. I have a really hard time with that. Like fucking notification noise is just like completely interrupt the thought. Anyway, yeah. Um, so if you are in this position where you're trying stuff and you're just like, or you're committing to something and you're feeling really, really uncertain, one of my favorite ways to calm myself is I use an Alex Hermosi frame, which is he has this thing where he's like, how do you decide whether to push or pivot? And basically, you have to ask yourself like, is this thing that I'm trying to do I have new information in front of me that tells me that this thing I'm trying to do would not work, right? And if the answer is no, which oftentimes is the case, um, well, depending, um, then the answer is you just have to keep pushing because it's hard right now. So, like, I don't know, in the case of music, is it like, have you shown your songs to a bunch of people and like no one fucking likes it, right? Like every single person is just like either bored or has no reaction whatsoever. And it like, okay, sure, like maybe I would think about writing some better songs and like going from there. But is it like some people are reacting and it's just hard? Then like I would just keep pushing. Like, or you're spending a lot of money and like it hasn't quite generated like a positive cash ROI. It's like, okay, then like you probably just need to keep going. You probably just need to fix something. You probably just need to find other ways to monetize while you're building this thing right now. Because like, um, if you get too obsessed with the immediacy of a result, if you cannot be patient, you're just gonna make bad decisions, and you're gonna do stuff solely for the money and solely because like you can't have long term vision. So you got to find more ways to monetize than just one in the beginning. Well, not even in the beginning, just like in general. Like many, from what I can tell, many artists also have like other ways of monetizing. Um, but yeah, this episode's coming a little early because I'm actually going to be out of town for some gigs, for some clients this week. So I won't. I normally would film these on the weekends, but I'm doing a little bit early this week. Uh, But if you're watching this video, it's probably the weekend because I'm going to schedule it for whatever. But yeah, I guess if there's anything you guys want to see me do, or like questions you want me to answer, like things you're curious about, let me know. Because like I want to take this information and really just try to like pave the way for people to like kind of be the example that other people want to see, for their creative careers. So, um, and if I seem like low energy and a bit downtrodden, this week has just been a lot emotionally. I'm fucking tired, um, but I'm doing okay, um, and I hope you are too. But anyway, that's it for episode 2. Um, I'll see you guys next week.